Hello, I'm Chylli from Channel Chylli, also known as Try, and we are back to finally finish off the rest of Saya no Ura. We only have one ending left. So without further ado, let's just get right into it, shall we? It's time to finish this. Just as he promised earlier, Koji calls Fuminori again. The call goes through immediately. Fuminori must have been waiting for it.
どこだろうと関係ないだろう。
As soon as Koji responds, a shrill ringing fills the house. Startled, Koji spins around and looks into the hallway. The house phone is flashing to signal an incoming call.
なるほど。やっぱり僕の家に来たか。
Koji fell for it. Fuminori is the one calling the house, and now he knows exactly where Koji is. He must have predicted that this would be Koji's first stop, that Koji would call him upon finding it empty.
じゃあ見られちゃったんだろうね。いろいろと。ああ。
Koji keeps his voice bold to conceal his horror. When did Fuminori become so cunning? Oh, okay, space is to hide text.
えらく悪時期になったらしいな。一体今日まで何人殺した？いや、僕はまだ一人だけ。
Fuminori replies unapologetically, his tone upbeat.
でも、解体だけなら3、4人ってとこかな。かなり慣れたよ。剣を切ったり血抜きしたりとか。
Koji no longer feels sadness or horror when faced with Fuminori's inhumanity. There is only the cold desire to kill the creature speaking such revolting words with his friend's voice.
貴様、近江を殺したな。知らないっていうのは嘘だな。どうなんだろう。
Fuminori mutters, seeming somehow embarrassed.
正直言うとね、最初に食べたのがもしかしたら近江だったかもしれないんだ。ちょうど彼女が消えたその日だし。いや、誰の死体かなんてわからないありさまだったからさ。
Koji had already abandoned hope, but is still shocked to hear of his lover's brutal end.
つくばもか。いや、彼女はちゃんとここにいる。僕だってバカじゃない。彼女は取引の材料なんだろう。むさむさ捨てたりしないさ。
Fuminori says with an exacerbated chuckle.
声を聞かせろ。それはちょっと無理かな。口を聞けるような状態じゃないから。
Fuminori's dismissive words further sharpen Koji's bloodlust.
言ったはずだぞ。彼女を無事に解放しないなら。生きているだけでもよしとしてくれよ。それとも完全に死体になったようが欲しいかい。確認するがコージ、お前は集めた資料のすべてを証拠ともども持ってこい。その内容を見て納得できたら僕らは用を引き渡す。いいだろう。
It's obvious that this deal is a sham. In all likelihood, Fuminori is planning to kill him and bury his secrets forever. Moreover, Koji doubts that Yo is even alive. Her meat could very well be somewhere in the refrigerator right in front of them. However, Koji isn't particularly interested in Fuminori's true intentions. After all, he has no intention of making a trade either. His only goal is to get close enough to destroy Fuminori and whatever is pulling his strings.
場所はお前が僕を尾行してきた大貝教授の家、覚えてるだろ。今夜7時にそこで落ち合おう。一人で来いよ。おい。
Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response. Perhaps Fuminori too has sensed his opponent's intent. If so, then he has realized that Koji is not just the hunted, but the hunter as well. So we're like duelists maneuvering for advantage. Koji smiles grimly as he pockets his phone. It's astounding how much their relationship has changed. The question is whether or not to comply with the 7 o'clock rendezvous agreement. If this were a serious negotiation, then it would be wise to avoid preempting Fuminori in any way that could provoke his anger. What Koji and Fuminori are really doing, however, is trying to lure each other into a deadly trap. Koji doesn't know what Fuminori's plans to do between now and then are, but he's not about to let his enemy keep the initiative. The fierce bloodlust that has taken root in his heart is more than enough to energize his exhausted body. Koji leaves the death-filled house, his stride more determined than before.
今朝あれから電話があってさ、とりあえず関係ない場所に誘い出してある。少しじらしてやろうと思ってね。
There we go. I didn't realize this was largely the same. Whatever.
やっぱり暗くなってからがいいよね。
ああ。頃合いを見計らって、ここに誘い出して仕留めよう。ここなら誰にも気づかれないからね。
せっかく人間一人分の肉が仕入れられるのに、ここだと腐らせちゃうね。
Koji has nothing to do but wait. He has spent almost half a day in the dark, empty study, breathing stale air choked with mold as he fans his ears for the slightest hint of movement below. Few people could endure such a vigil, but Koji has accomplished it without complaint. If anything, the suffering is welcome, for it keeps his nerves honed to a razor's edge. Without a doubt, his single-minded focus is the only thing allowing him to push the limits of his stamina. Koji understands this and embraces the pain. His closest friend has shattered his world like glass, and now Koji feels only hate towards the madness that has replaced it, and towards himself for allowing it to happen. Self-loathing is a more reliable source of willpower than any faith or resolve, no matter how noble. When he arrived at the Yogai house, Koji snuck inside carefully, hoping to perhaps take his enemy by surprise. It was only after he got inside that he realized the house was still abandoned. Even so, Koji was sure that Fuminori would arrive earlier than promised in order to set up an ambush. Fuminori said he was sending him on a wild goose chase, right? So does he actually have any intention of ever coming here? However, the light streaming through the windows turned red, then faded to darkness with no sign of anyone coming. Koji's patience has grown weaker and weaker by the moment. And now the appointed time has arrived. Just as Koji's frustration is about to peak, his phone begins to vibrate and flash. It's from Fuminori. He's calling rather than showing up himself. Rage stands to overwhelm him for an instant, but Koji manages to keep his voice calm as he answers.
どういうつもりだ、文則。
いやね。まさか待ち伏せなんていう無駄なことをして神経すり減らしてないか。お前のことが心配になってさ。
Fuminori says, chuckling scornfully.
遅くなったが、そろそろ本当の待ち合わせ場所を教えておかなくちゃと思ってさ。前 間に合ったかい？
ふざけた真似を。
まあ怒るなよ。当然の用心だろ。
Fuminori laughed with unrestrained malevolence, as though to emphasize that he's seen through Koji's plans.
お前が大貝教授の家まで来てるんなら、そこからほんの少し先、歩いて行ける距離の場所だよ。僕と陽はそこにいる。まずは車に戻ってカーナビを見ろ。ところ番地教えてやるから。
今度こそ信用できるっていう保証は？
疑わしければ来なくていい。尻尾を巻いて逃げるがいいさ。
Fuminori hangs up immediately after speaking his challenge. Koji leaps out of the chair and kicks it across the room, unable to find any other outlet for his rage. He has no choice but to do what Fuminori says. His stamina is already exhausted, only his obsession is keeping him going. If he allows himself even a moment's rest, he fears that he'll never again find the strength to face this madness. Tonight is his only chance to kill Fuminori. Koji knows, of course, that his enemy is planning to ambush him. Fuminori isn't going to fight fair, but then neither is Koji. With the unsteady stride of a man half asleep, Koji leaves the Yogai house and heads for his car. Only the base of these foothills has been developed for housing. The address Fuminori gave Koji is outside of that area, in the thick forest that still covers the mountain's face. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium there. It's definitely a place that no one could find, not even by accident. Maybe this next slope really will be the last. Koji drives up the steep incline, soon leaving the residential neighborhood behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorstep, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This feels like the same dialogue, but okay. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone and hide the body. Places like this, lost and forgotten, or found only in deep jungles and hidden valleys. Holes in the world are everywhere, even in the midst of civilization. A broken down gatepost suddenly appears in Koji's headlights like a ghost rising from the darkness. Looks like this is the final stop. He rolls up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself to the silence of the forest. After grabbing his new flashlight from the glove compartment and checking that the revolver is still in his pocket, Koji opens the door and gets out of the car. And here we go, since he did not inform Ryoko. She did not come in to save him, and Saya got him. My mind hazy from the pain, I watch as Saya feasts upon her slain prey. We've won. It was hard and I wasn't able to do it alone, but together we have defeated our enemy. The price was steep. At least 2 of my ribs are broken, sending a sharp pain shooting through my chest every time I breathe. And then there's Yo. I didn't expect her to fall to Koji so easily. I suppose that, unlike Saya, she might have been unfamiliar with how to use her new body in combat. My injury must have fueled Saya's anger. Her slaughter of Koji was merciless and complete. As soon as her prey stopped moving, she sank her teeth into his vital organs and ruthlessly extinguished the last embers of life. Though her brutal, grisly actions were unbecoming of her girlish appearance, Saya's face, covered in blood and gore, was that of a victorious queen of beasts, lording over her defeated foe. There was something noble and sacred about her primal ferocity that made me reluctant to disturb her. I don't know how long I'd been sitting here watching Saya feast. I've nearly fainted from the pain several times. To be honest, I'm not used to violence. The wounds I suffered in the car accident were worse, of course, but these broken ribs were the most severe injury that's been deliberately inflicted upon me. You'd think that Saya could show a little more concern for my condition. Koji is already as dead as he can be, so there's no reason for her to be so greedy. I suddenly realized that Saya had stopped eating. Now she's lying on her back, rolling from side to side. Has she eaten too much? It's been several days since we've had fresh and frozen meat, so I understand where her enthusiasm is coming from, but still, I'm wounded here. She could give me a hand. Because I'm preoccupied with my own selfish wants, I'm slow to realize that something is wrong. Saya isn't resting, she's trembling, in agony. My blood goes cold and the pain from my broken ribs is suddenly forgotten.
Saya!
I jump up, run to her side, and cradle her fallen body in my arms. Her face is pale and drenched in sweat, and her half-closed eyelids and lips are shivering like she has a fever. What's going on? Was she wounded in the fight? Could the meat she have just eaten been poisoned somehow? I don't understand. All I know is that something terrible is happening.
Saya! Saya!
The only thing I can do is call her name with all my strength. Saya slowly opens her eyes and gazes vacantly into my face.
みのり、ごめん。大丈夫。大丈夫だよ。ただちょっと痛いだけ。
何なんだ？どうしたんだ、サヤ？しっかりしろ！
There's no way she's fine. It's glaringly obvious that her condition is dire. Even so, I'm the only one who's panicking. Saya's expression is serene, as though she understands everything that is happening to her. She even smiles softly up at me.
びっくりしちゃった。まさか本当にこんなに早く時が来るなんて。
I might lose Saya. The thought is unbearable. Terror and despair are quickly overwhelming me. A feeling of utter helplessness that I cannot resist.
怖がらないで。昼間言ったよね。これが印。みのりと私のたった一つの希望。
どういうことだよ。わけわかんないよ、サヤ。しっかりしてくれよ。
Sai answers my tearful entreaty with a smile like that of a mother comforting her child.
さやはね、頑張るって決めたの。だってふみのりはさやのこと可愛いって綺麗だってそう言ってくれたから。
やめようよ、サヤ。
Whatever is happening, I can't just sit by and watch as it causes Saya such agony.
もういい。無茶しないでくれ。何をするつもりか知らないが、サヤが苦しむ姿なんて見たくない。
ひどいな。ふみのり、分かってよ。
Saya chides me. In a soft voice, she reveals her secret.
生まれるんだよ。 のりの子供たちが。
For a moment, my mind goes completely blank.
そんな、いつの間に。
私もね、びっくり。ねえ、ふみのり。
Kaya's labored breathing speaks to the terrible pain her tiny body is suffering. Even so, she wraps her arms tightly around my neck.
外に連れてって。広いところ、空の下に。
I nod. What else can I do? If I speak, I'm afraid that I'll be unable to hold back my tears. I mustn't cry, not when Saya is facing her torment so bravely. It feels like Saya is burning up in my arms, and I fear that the terrible convulsions that shoot through her at intervals will tear her frail body to pieces. Praying for her safety, I scoop Saya up and carry her swiftly out of the ruined building. Maybe the cold night air will help soothe her fever, but that hope is futile. Cruelly dashed as her breathing grows shallow and she moans through bluish lips.
さや、外だよ。
In response to my call, she opens her eyes once more. Her gaze is cloudy and unfocused. She can no longer see. Nevertheless, Saya looks up at me. I can tell that she is imagining my expression where my face should be.
約束した。これが最後のプレゼント。喜んでくれるといいな。
嬉しいよ。もちろん。
It takes every ounce of my willpower, but I manage to make my voice light and cheerful. In Saya's mind's eye, I know that I'm smiling. She won't have to see my face streaked with tears.
みのり、私を愛してくれたあなたにこの星をあげます。
Saya's whisper is weak and pained, but there is ecstasy in her voice. Ecstasy and joy. Her back suddenly shifts, then bulges
こ
outward.
の世界はきっと綺麗な場所になるから。
She whispers in exultation.
さやとふみのりのためだけの世界に。
And then Saya blooms. How else can I describe it? Flower petals, long and wide, slide from her back like the wings of a newly formed butterfly. Their brilliant glow comes from the countless tiny scales that cover each petal like particles of light.
さよならなのか。
I ask her, careful to keep the sorrow out of my voice.
ううん、違う。これは始まり。
Saya's pain must have already left her, for her expression is infinitely peaceful and content.
私とふみのりの世界の始まり。
The radiant motes rise on the wind, painting rivers of light in the frozen winter sky. It is beautiful, overwhelmingly, painfully beautiful. Singing victoriously of their freedom, the shining seeds of life are released into the vast and fertile land. Their song heralds the coming of the new world and the destruction of the old. It is a boundless healing. It is an eternal blessing. We shall fill the world with our
こ
joy.
れからはずっと一緒だね。
Embracing Saya's pitifully shrunken body, I gaze into the shining sky and let my tears flow freely. Thank you. Thank you for this final gift, Saya. He was worried at first how long the preserved foods in the underground storeroom would last her, but now it seems that her fears were unfounded. It's the liquor she should have been worried about. By savoring each drop of spiritus as though it were her last, she thought that she could make her flask hold out a little longer. But she must have been consuming more each day than she realized. Who can blame her? There's no way that she could have gone through this without the intoxicating effects of distilled alcohol. After Ryoko chased useless emotions like hope and despair from her mind, she found herself spending the most peaceful days of her life. As resignation set in, even hate and fear left her. Now she feels only awe for what Ogai Masahiko did, and respect for the depths of his intellectual curiosity. After all, neither she nor this world has any reason left to deny his research. Alone in the mountain cabin, Ryoko killed time by bringing order to the documents that Ogai had left behind. She took the scattered and ciphered papers and rewrote them in a more readable fashion, eliminating redundancies and adding indexes and table of contents. Ryoko did not intend for anyone to read them, of course. She knew full well how meaningless her actions were. With her reason to live gone, however, having something to devote her mind to was at least some relief. And now, as the last congratulatory drops of spiritus vodka burn their way down Ryoko's throat, all of Ogai's research lies before her in a single volume. He has finally finished transcribing and anointing the last of his writings. Annotating. Enjoying the satisfaction of the pointless job well done, she idly pages through the manuscript that she just completed. I shall conclude by summarizing my theory as it currently stands. The life form that I named Saya did not appear in our universe by chance, nor even as a result of my summoning, but because of the instincts that were programmed directly into her biology. She was created to fulfill the same ultimate purpose that all life shares: reproduction. Saya and her kind procreate by spreading their seeds to other dimensions. What is the probability that they will discover a doorway to another world? Even if they succeed in doing so, the chance of that world being suitable for reproduction must be even more minute. In order to make the most of that scant probability, evolution has granted them a certain advantage, none other than the astonishing ability that I have witnessed in Saya. To wit, they select the most prosperous life form they encounter, take control of it, and doing so gain dominance over that planet's biosphere. In other words, they hijack the entire species. They do this by analyzing their target's genome, then overwriting its genetic code to remake it in their own image. Saya's biology is more than capable of inducing such dramatic and widespread mutation. There is a significant probability that the target species will have evolved into intelligent life. This element may be necessary to gaining control of a planet's environment. Therefore, Saya and her sisters also plunder their target's culture and psychology. Her extraordinary learning ability and intellectual curiosity are likely instinctive tools that enable her to inherit the target species' entire wealth of knowledge. fact, it may be that Saya's kind has always had its sights set on intelligent life. Perhaps they wait patiently for some foolish extra-dimensional species to gain knowledge of other worlds, and, in an attempt to satisfy its own curiosity, make contact with the outer universe in which they dwell, rather than send Saya and her kin on their dimensional journeys with only luck and have their own strength to depend on. Would not waiting for such contact really increase the chance of finding a world worthy of conquest? Just as I, having acquired the silver key, fancied myself an explorer of the unknown, how many intelligent life forms on other worlds have thoughtlessly congratulated themselves for discovering Saya's sisters? Taken by the sudden urge to go outside for a change, Ryoko gathers up the manuscripts and heads to her car, which is parked in the front yard. She has completed her self-imposed final duty. There is no longer any reason for her to remain holed up in the mountain cabin. She drives a little further up the mountain to an open place that offers a scenic view of the land below. In the early days of the change, Ryoko could often came to the spot to watch helplessly over the mutating city. The one flaw in my theory comes from none other than Saya herself, and for using me to learn everything she could about humanity. Saya should finally have been prepared to begin the last stage of her invasion. However, she never carried out her mission. Why? I hypothesize that Saya was an irregular among her kind. It is said that the human race's intelligence has allowed us to conquer our natural instincts. Perhaps in absorbing our human psyche, Saya accidentally inherited the disease that infects our entire species. What is human love really? What behavior could be more of a hindrance to the efficient propagation of a species? I'm reminded of how, at the end of her studies, Saya consumed vast quantities of romantic literature from all over the world. She tried to understand romance as an integral part of the human reproductive process. As a result, she might have unwittingly neutered her own unparalleled reproductive abilities. After all, she had not known love. She had come to this world to rule in our place and had studied humanity to fulfill that purpose. But ultimately, she could not share love with a human. Without love's blessing, Saya was unable to find the passion to fill this world with her kind. In learning all there was to know about humanity, she herself had become hopelessly human. Weary of loneliness, she despaired of the world. How pure her maiden soul must have been. If this hypothesis is correct, then it means that I have failed as her teacher. I cannot help but feel ashamed for having spoiled such an extraordinary organism. Saya. Next to Ogai Masahiko, Ryoko now knows more about that entity than anyone else. No, when the young man named Saki Saka Suminori is added to the running, perhaps she only comes in third. In the end, she never encountered the creature face to face. She would like to have met it once, though. If Ogai's analysis of Saya's psychology is correct, then it must have been Saki Saka who restored her desire to conquer the world. Perhaps as Saki Saka's chief physician, Ryoko played some role in bringing that lonely young man and Saya together, in which case she should at least have had the right to attend their wedding to end all weddings. She might even have charged them a matchmaker's fee. I have a dream that one day my daughter will know the blessings of love. I pray that there will come a day when our heart burns with the flame of passion and our world becomes bright and joyous once more. When that day comes, Saya, your terrible, irresistible purpose will surely consume us, that your progeny may flourish. The whole world will know your love and be reborn. Ah, what wonders the future holds. I deeply regret that I must end my life before I can see that day come, but the footsteps of those who would destroy my dream glow closer by the hour. If I seal my lips in death, then their grasping hands will not reach you. Please forgive me, my daughter, for leaving you alone in this barren world. With the knowledge that you now possess, I know that you will find your own path. The radiance of your hard-won soul shall light the road ahead. Have no fear, have no doubt. March onward until you reach your answer at last. And I, Saya, will dream forever of the world that you will create. Perhaps it's the isolated environment or the mountain air. Maybe she's just more resistant to the change. Whatever the case, Ryoko has not yet become as inhuman as the creatures wriggling through the city below. She does not know exactly how many people on the planet can still be called human, but she's one of what must be only a handful of survivors who are left to watch over the end of mankind. Of course, it's only a matter of time before she changes too. It has only been 3 days since she chopped off her right hand, which had ceased to function as anything resembling a human hand, but the itching that has spread across her entire back is growing more intolerable by the hour. She could look in the mirror to see what she is becoming, but she doubts that it would make her happy. Ryoko thinks that maybe it would be best to just go to sleep here, with the world spread out before her. When she awakens, perhaps she will be ready to descend the mountain and join in the city's revelries. Or maybe she won't even need such resolve anymore. Whatever the case, Ryoko thinks dreamily as she licks the very last drop of her flask. Even after I stop being human, I hope I'll still enjoy the taste of booze. And there we go, that's the final ending. One second, let me check this really quick. Alright, but that will end my final video on Saya no Uda. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time when we continue with something new. Until then, I hope you all have a good day. Bye!